Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael Baldwin. Tracy is off. A series of pileups and accidents along a certain stretch of I-90 East in Lake County has drivers worried, especially as they get ready to drive home from the long holiday weekend. More patrols are monitoring that area tonight. How people drive is part of the problem. And as Newschannel 5's Stephanie Ramirez learned today, there's another problem that isn't helping.
After this sandwich of vehicles on I-90 Tuesday, and two more accidents like this, but on a smaller scale last night, Ohio State Highway Patrol increased their presence today, working with ODOT to put more barrels up and signs. The biggest issue in the last three accidents, speed.
You need to adjust your speed and slow down.
But Staff Lieutenant Jim Savak says that's not the only issue they're looking into along this stretch of I-90 near Rumen Road. Showing us around, he says it's the brim or soft shoulder that's also a problem.
What is happening is we're having most of the time it's commercial vehicles when they're drifting out of their lane off the side of the actual pavement and or concrete into this soft area. Then it's causing them to either completely drive off the side of the road or in these two scenarios here recently to come out partially on the road, hit other traffic, and then become disabled along the whole road, blocking traffic.
The lieutenant tells us the shoulder only recently became an issue with heavy snow, heavy rains, and the thaw we've been experiencing. Some areas of that shoulder now looking like mud pits waiting to swallow a tire whole. That's why signs say for trucks to use the left lane. But the traffic pattern, the wall, and the soft shoulder,
the whole zone itself is about 7.5 miles.
It's all nothing new, part of the ODOT pavement rehabilitation project since 2012. An ODOT spokesperson says they had to pause work until the weather gets a little warmer and drier. In the meantime, for the rest of the weekend, the lieutenant says troopers will be monitoring this stretch of the highway to make sure drivers see their lights and slow down. And on Monday, he says they'll be meeting with ODOT to see construction-wise what else can be done. On I-90 East, on your side, Stephanie Ramirez, Newschannel 5.
Lieutenant Savak says the best thing all drivers can do is put down their cell phones, stop playing with radios, and give the roadways their full attention, especially driving in a construction zone. All right, tonight a father is in custody charged in connection with the death of his young son. Cleveland police were called out to a Project Avenue last night where they found 3-year-old Bryson Marshall dead. Investigators are working to determine his cause of death, but officers arrested his father, 26-year-old William Shepard, on felony child endangering. We'll bring you more information as it becomes available. New video tonight involving a violent road rage incident in Northeast Ohio. Bretnall police released this dash cam video taken moments after Gwendolyn Young was attacked. On Sunday, investigators say she and another driver got into an accident resulting in her being dragged, beaten, and run over before the other driver left the scene. She remains in critical condition. Crime Stoppers is offering a reward with anyone with information should call the police. The Cavs have canceled Andrew Bynum Fathead giveaway tomorrow night. Why? In case you haven't heard, he's pretty much done playing for the Wine and Gold. The Cavs GM said Bynum was suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. The center has been excused from all team activities indefinitely. Bynum did not travel with the team to Boston last night for their game against the Celtics today, which they lost. It's not known if the Cavs will release him. Sports director Andy Baskin will have more coming up in sports. Well, people got outside to enjoy the 50-degree weather across Northeast Ohio today, but these temps will not last into the new year. Let's get right over to Power 5 meteorologist Elisa Milinovich. What's tomorrow look like?
Nothing like today, unfortunately. We got up to a high today of 54 degrees. Brilliant sunshine out there, nice and dry. We've got big changes in store for us coming for tomorrow. Right now, the Power 5 Doppler radar network showing a few false echoes. We are, in fact, all dry out there. No precipitation, at least not yet, but it is in the forecast for it. It is headed our way during the day tomorrow. Here's a look at what it's going to be like for you at 9 o'clock in the morning. Mostly cloudy, the temperature 39 degrees. As we get into the noon hour, many of us will start to see rain. It's going to start in the south first and move north, and the temperature right at about 41 degrees for noontime. Then, as we get into the 8 o'clock hour in the evening, snow moves in. Temperatures are going to be falling throughout the afternoon hours into the evening, and we'll talk a little bit more about just how cold it is going to get for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Michael?
All right, some of that Arctic blast that Elisa told us about is already sweeping through America's heartland. At the same time, power is still out for thousands from a Christmas storm that roared from the plains all the way into the Northeast. ABC's Chuck Severtson shows us the latest.
An icy winter storm is blasting through the northern plains, inflicting whiteout conditions in places like Grand Forks, North Dakota. Highway signs there alerting motorists to exercise extreme caution in blizzard conditions that reduce visibility to close to zero. And it's not getting better anytime soon. An Arctic deep freeze is moving in from Canada across the plains and the Midwest, with winds gusting up to 55 miles per hour and wind chills reaching as much as minus 55. And it's getting worse on Sunday when bitter cold hits the Midwest. At the same time, a new storm coming up from the Gulf will bring heavy rain along the eastern seaboard and up to a foot of snow into New England. That region already hit hard by a fierce winter storm moving through on Christmas that sparked widespread power outages. 5,000 homes are still without electricity, and even though crews are working feverishly to restore power, many residents will not get back electricity until the new year.
Normal conditions are the trees fall and a hurricane, etc., and it gets sunny out. This was bitterly cold, 5 to 10 degrees, snow, wind.
We want these people to have their power back and be able to heat their homes and cook their meals and do all the things that they do on a normal day.
Looking ahead, this year's New Year's ball drop in New York will be much chillier than the one before. Temperatures are expected to drop into the low 20s, and it will feel like teens or single digits for the tens of thousands standing in Times Square. Chuck Severtson, ABC News, New York.
Stay prepared for weather like this with our Storm Shield app. You can download it to any Apple and Android smartphones. It will alert you about any weather watches and warnings. We're following an Amber Alert for a little girl reported missing in Florida because the story has an Ohio connection. Jacksonville police say a mother abducted her child. 6-year-old Anika Fisher was last seen yesterday evening. Police say her mother, Charity Chapman, took her without permission during a supervised visit. Chapman is reportedly driving a dark green Buick Century with an Ohio license plate. She has a history of mental illness and lost custody of her child about 6 weeks ago. We've learned that a church mass tomorrow will be held in honor of a local father 2 days before he has to leave the country. Ricardo Ramos lives in Perry with his wife and 3 children in Lake County, but he is an illegal alien and the U.S. government says he must return to Mexico by January 1st. At 11:30 tomorrow morning, his supporters will gather for Mass at the St. Casimir Church in Cleveland to pray for a different outcome. After today, more than 1 million Americans will now have to get by without unemployment benefits. As of today, 1.3 million Americans got the last of their jobless benefits. Congress did not extend the emergency program. For the people who use it, it runs out after they've reached 26 weeks of payments. Renewing these benefits could ignite a Washington firestorm.
It encourages some people to stay unemployed too long, and that makes it increasingly hard for them to get back into the workforce.
This is what these people need in order just to get by, and it's what the economy needs in order to keep its momentum.
The first chance for Congress to take up extending unemployment benefits is January the 7th. Well, quite a show at the Q tonight. Thousands of people packed the arena to see the famous Harlem Globetrotters show off their sweet moves. The Trotters squared off against the World All-Stars team. Fans we spoke with all said they love, of course, all those neat tricks.
I like the tricks they do, and they're cool to watch.
Talented, that's all I can say is talented, definitely.
I think they're fun, entertaining, and teach kids how to do tricks with their sports that they play in school. They both play basketball in school, so we brought them here to see the things that they can do in basketball as well.
The Globetrotters are all living up to their name. Tomorrow they'll have shows in Toledo, Atlantic City, and Iowa. Coming up, social networking and sexual extortion, the warning for people on social media after an investigation on Ohio University. Flu outbreak, where the virus is spreading, the unlikely age group most affected, and what you can do about it. Unlikely honor, why Pope Francis is at the top of the list, usually reserved for George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and myself.